It's been a few days since the situation with Schlep and Roblox threatening him with the lawsuit went public, and there have already been a ton of updates. First of all, thousands of creators along with major news outlets have started covering the story, and a lot of these videos are pulling in millions of views. The few who aren't covering it or outright refuse to are getting called out and exposed by the community. This video also goes into depth about Roblox's pathetic attempt to sweep this whole thing under the rug, from deleting thousands of Pro Schlep shirts off the catalog to censoring posts speaking about this on the Roblox's official dev forums. I'll also be speaking about the fact that their chief safety officer sold over $800,000 worth of Roblox stock right before the legal threat happened, which many see as a direct response from Roblox. On top of that, I'll be going more in depth regarding the claims circulating on Twitter regarding Roblox's CEO David Baszucki, where people are claiming that he was on the Epstein list, which we'll be diving into later in the video because I found something that might suggest their connection. Before we get into everything, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and watch until the end because what I'm about to show you in this video is absolutely insane. The first major update to this whole situation is the absolute explosion of coverage it's gotten online. And when I say explosion, I genuinely mean it. This thing has gone everywhere. Massive YouTubers have already jumped in, such as Penguin0, also known as MoistCritical, Jidion, who's collaborated with Schlep in the past, KreekCraft, one of the biggest names in Roblox, and of course, Schlep's own original video on the situation have all already smashed over 1 million views in just a matter of a few days. And it's not just YouTubers. Major outlets are now picking up the story as well, such as Dexterio, Drama Alert, and Libs of TikTok. And from what I've just been told, this is just the start. Even larger news outlets are planning on covering this very soon, based off of some posts that have been circulating on Twitter. On top of that, Roblox's own star creators like Qbink, Steak, and many others have started openly rebelling, with people like, for example, Qbink changing their username to Free Schlep. And the most insane part about that is that Roblox's brand new terms of services implies that supporting people like this could get you banned. So the fact that these creators are willing to risk their account just shows how serious the situation is and how strongly the community is pushing back. And it's not just the community. Supposedly, even law enforcement is weighing in. A post claimed to be from the Arkansas State Police are now calling for David Baszucki to step down as the Roblox CEO, citing failures in user safety, transparency, and public trust. Now, I can't confirm for a fact if this post is 100% legitimate. The fact that it's being shared and taken seriously at all just shows how deep the demand for change is getting. Now, as true as it is that everyone's talking about the situation, there's still some people and even news accounts who are completely refusing to touch it. One of the most popular examples is the Roblox Twitter news account Bloxy News. They've been in a lot of drama lately for openly refusing to cover the Schlep situation. Now, obviously, it's up to anyone if they want to speak on something or not, but here's where it gets crazy. Bloxy News hasn't just been ignoring it, they've been banning people from their Twitter community for bringing it up. There have been multiple tweets made where people have been getting removed from the Bloxy News community simply for talking about the Schlep situation, and this isn't the first time something like this happened. Back during the Teddy drama, people were also getting silenced for raising concerns before Roblox took any action. And here's the most ironic part. Bloxy News was one of the first accounts to cover the Ruben Sim situation when he was being sued by Roblox over 4 years ago. Back then, it was fair game to report on Roblox's legal actions, but now when it's about Schlep, a creator who's been catching all of these creeps, suddenly it's off limits. Why? Some might be asking, why would they do this? There's a pretty likely explanation. Bloxy News is affiliated with Gilded, which is owned by Roblox, and if they start speaking out about anything on Roblox, especially something this big, it could easily impact their connection to Gilded. So instead of risking that partnership, they've chosen to keep quiet and silence anyone who tries to talk about it in their spaces. And this takes us directly to the larger issue here. Roblox themselves are actively trying to silence the situation. Roblox has been silencing people about this in multiple ways, and the first one is honestly insane. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of shirts being uploaded to Roblox in support of Schlep. These aren't harmful and they're not breaking any rules. They're just showing support for someone who's being unfairly targeted. But the crazy part is that a huge number of these shirts have been disappearing, completely wiped from the catalog. People on Twitter have been posting about it all day, complaining that their shirts were removed without any warning, and it's ridiculously easy to prove. Just search Schlep on the Roblox catalog, and a bunch of shirts that were there just hours ago completely wiped from existence, like Roblox is trying to pretend they never existed in the first place. And as bad as that is, this is only the start of how Roblox is silencing people who speak out about Schlep. Because when you look at the rest of what's actually been happening, it becomes painfully clear that this isn't just moderation, it's Roblox actively trying to bury this entire situation. Developers have started reporting that Roblox is actively censoring posts and discussions about the Schlep situation, even in spaces meant for developers. Roblox news accounts like RBXL News have already called this out. One clear example comes from the Roblox developer forum. A developer posted a thread calling for a dev strike, which basically is a protest against Roblox, and within hours the post was taken down. The official reason was for it being off topic, which is completely stupid. Roblox's is pretending that a community-wide protest about their own platform somehow doesn't fit any form category. All I will say is that when a company starts censoring their own community for talking about and accountability, that's when you know they're not trying to protect safety, they're trying to protect themselves. Hey, so I'm just gonna quickly interrupt here. There's actually been a live update on the whole situation. So there was another news article that came out regarding the whole situation, and Roblox actually gave a quote.
They said, "It is important to speak with the right sources to really understand how vigilante individuals and groups operate, such as sharing personal information, engaging in political conversations, lying about their ages, all that stuff, all while having a profit motive to evade detection instead of providing companies like ours with all the information to take the necessary action."
And this is coming from an official Roblox representative. I do not even understand what is going through their minds. First of all, Schlep in his video and Jidion in his video perfectly went over how they report everything to not only Roblox but to law enforcement. Additionally, them saying that they don't report to the proper channels is completely stupid because they're going straight to law enforcement. They're skipping the whole Roblox step and they're getting these arrested. So not only did Roblox just basically silence all the criticism they were getting on their dev forums and on their Roblox catalog, they just doubled down on possibly the worst take on the internet this year alone. Anyways, let's continue back with the rest of the video. And all this lines up perfectly with Roblox's obsession with protecting their public image and their corporate partnership. Remember, Roblox isn't just a game platform anymore. It hasn't been for years. It's a billion-dollar company tied into brands, investors, and marketing deals. Allowing a public high-traffic space like the dev forum to fill up with posts about catching, lawsuits, and corporate negligence would be a PR nightmare for them. If all of this wasn't suspicious enough, here's where it gets from shady to downright sketchy. On August 8, 2025, Roblox's chief safety officer, Matthew Kaufman, sold over $800,000 worth of Roblox stock. This just so happens to be the exact same time Roblox was preparing to go after Schlep with that cease and desist letter. At first glance, it already looks bad. The head of safety cashing out right as Roblox is about to be slammed for threatening someone who catches. But then it gets worse. Ruben Sim pointed out that the sale was made a day before Schlep received the cease and desist email. It was executed on August 7th, and Schlep got the letter on the 8th. Even though the sale was part of a pre-scheduled plan going back to November 4th, 2024, the timing is just completely unreal. Think about it. The moment the sale goes through, Roblox drops one of the most controversial legal threats in their history, and as Ruben put it, it's almost like Kaufman was waiting for the stock sale to finalize before making such a risky and damaging move. And let's not forget, this isn't just some random Roblox employee. This is the chief safety officer, the person who's supposed to be responsible for protecting users, especially children, from the very kinds of Schlep was catching. So seeing him cash out right before the company takes legal action against someone protecting kids, that's not just bad optics, it's a PR disaster. Before we move forward, I quickly want to show you this screenshot that's been brought to my attention. It's allegedly from a child safety lawsuit against Roblox, and it contains a statement supposedly made by a former Roblox employee describing the company's approach to safety. It basically says that you have to choose between keeping players safe or keeping them on the platform, and that Roblox prioritizes growth and investor satisfaction over protecting kids. Whether you believe this alleged quote or not, it paints a very clear picture of how Roblox operates, and when you combine it with everything that's happening right now, the silencing, the censorship, and the legal threats against Schlep, it's not that hard to see a pattern. And speaking of patterns, this is where things take a much darker turn, because Roblox's own CEO, David Baszucki, has his name tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Before we get into David Baszucki, I need to set the stage with someone whose name keeps popping up in this story: Henry Kissinger. Henry was the US Secretary of State in the 1970s, infamous for greenlighting brutal foreign policy decisions. But here's the part most people don't know. In 1975, the State Department destroyed a massive client list tied to John Dean Norman, a man who ran a nationwide child ring. That list reportedly documented tens of thousands of clients, including public officials and influential figures. Years later, Henry's name also appears in Jeffrey Epstein's so-called Black Book. Now, to be crystal clear, a name appearing in the contact book does not by itself prove any crime, but that overlap is exactly why people keep drawing lines between these circles. So how exactly does this come back to Roblox? Henry had deep ties to the Paley Media Council, or Paley Center for Media, a high-powered divisive media network patched with top executives and public figures. And who else is listed as connected to the Paley Center? Roblox's CEO, David Baszucki. On paper, the Paley Council is a member club for media and tech leaders, but the roster includes people who aren't media in any normal sense. Former high-ranking government officials like James Baker and Robert Gates, for example. You also have Tony Blair, a former UK Prime Minister whose name shows up in Epstein's address book. Keep in mind that an Epstein accuser has said that she was forced to do the thing with a former Prime Minister. Then you have Jimmy Savile, one of the UK's most infamous whose decades of crimes are now public record, and Rupert Murdoch, a major media mogul who has been socially connected to Ghislaine Maxwell's family and is also listed in Epstein's contact book. Again, being in the same network doesn't automatically make someone guilty, but it does show how many high-profile, controversial, and interconnected figures move in the same circle of influence. Then, in 2023, P. Diddy was named a trustee of the council at the same time his own name was wrapped in serious allegations. That's the kind of company the council keeps. Here's why this matters for Roblox. David Baszucki's connection to the Paley Center places him in the same elite network as multiple figures with Epstein ties. That doesn't prove any wrongdoings by David Baszucki, but it does make you look twice. And this isn't the only example of him moving in high-power circles. In 2024, he was invited to Donald Trump's presidential inauguration. Trump himself has been accused of having ties to Epstein and has been proven to have spoken with him multiple times. So when you put it all together, you've got the CEO of Roblox rubbing shoulders with world leaders, billionaires, and media moguls, many of whom are connected to some of the most disturbing situations in the last few decades. When you pair all of that with Roblox's current behavior of silencing creators, threatening Schlep, deleting support shirts, censoring dev forum posts, it absolutely raises questions about priorities. Is Roblox laser focused on optics and investor comfort over child safety? Because that's exactly how it looks. And here's what really seals it: only address Schlep's allegations in a private cease and desist, not in a public statement where they could be challenged on the facts. Instead, they hid behind a broad vigilante group narrative, letting their PR team doing the talking while they quietly tried to bury the story. Meanwhile, their so-called proper reporting channels have failed time and time again. Schlep has proved he has used them, and the timeline speaks for itself. Schlep gets instant account wipes, legal threats, and corporate statement. Known like Potimer, for example, or Nathrix multiple years before they're banned, if they even get banned at all. Now they're deleting shirts, censoring posts, and wiping dev forum threads. That's not a coincidence, that's simply fear. If Roblox truly believed they were in the right, they wouldn't have to silence their own community. At the end of the day, this isn't just about protecting kids, this is about Roblox protecting their own image, and the fact that they'd rather threaten a guy catching rather than the themselves tells you everything that you need to know. After explaining what I just did, there's a pretty high chance that I'll be the next person who gets a cease and desist for pointing out this extremely alarming connection. So please like the video, subscribe, and share it everywhere you can so this information gets out to as many people as possible. If anyone has any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer a few in my Discord server or in the comments below. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.